welcome to this cybersecurity class. We have been on the second unit and we have been dealing with the, host data and network security. So far we have studied securing the, devices, network devices, securing the network devices. Here we have been into security through network technologies. Security through network technologies and design elements are also we are going to see in this. So these are all the objectives. So we have completed the network security devices and we are about to complete this network technologies and network design elements. So through network technologies, there are two kinds of technologies are there, NAT, network address translation, and network access control. So these two things are very important. We can provide security through the network technologies. So what is meant by NAT? You have studied already in the networks, right? So NAT, network address translation. So it will translate the private IP into the public, right? Or public IP into the private. So it replaces the private IP address with the public address as leaves the network and vice versa when it returns. So as I said earlier, so it will do two things. It will do translation from the private IP to the public IP, and if it is entering from the internet, it will do the vice versa, which means that it will translate the public IP into the private IP. So what is meant by port address translation? So it is an extension of NAT. So variation of the NAT. That outgoing packets give some IP given the same IP address but different TCP IP port number. So if this is the packet, second packet, this will give the same IP address. Say for example w.x.y.z. So with the port number of, say for example 2001. The second packet will give the same IP address w.x.y.z with the help of 2002. So it has been differentiated with the help of port numbers. Simple. So that is actually port address translation. So network address translations, it allows the private IP addresses to be used on the public internet. So it replaces the do the translation of private IP to public and public IP to private IP. So this is how the NAT is happening. A packet is with an IP address 192.168.0.3. So this is the center IP address. So here the NAT just been installed in a router, right? Just been installed in a router. So this is the original IP address of the packet. It has been translated to a public IP, and it has been sent to the internet. So this is happening in the NAT. So it's a very simple thing, network address translation. Right. NAT advantages, it masks the IP addresses. So the packet, it is being sending in the internet. So it has its own public IP. So it will mask the private IP. So allow the multiple devices to share a smaller number of public IP addresses. Okay, so these are all the advantages of network address translation. It will mask the IP addresses and it allows the multiple devices to share the smaller number of public IP addresses. So it will solve the shortage of IP address. So in case of while studying the networks, so this is a very important criteria, right? Solving the shortage of IP address problem. So NAT is being used here. Allow the multiple devices to share the smaller number of public IP addresses. Right. So each and every systems, we couldn't have a individual public IP for a particular system, right? So we are nowadays we are having a number of gadgets and increasing use of number of systems and all. So if I am providing everyone a public IP for a particular individual system, so it couldn't possible, right? So already we are having the lack of public IP. So here NAT can be used for sharing the, smaller number of public IP addresses. So NAT, network access control. Network access control examines the current state of the system or the network device before allowing the network connections. So before allowing the network connection itself, so it will examine the current state of the system or the network devices. So device must meet a set of criteria. So what are all the criteria it has to meet? If not met, the NAC allows the connection to quarantine network. It will quarantine the particular network, until the deficiency is corrected. Say for example, until the vulnerability has been solved. So the goal of the NAC is to prevent the computers with the suboptimal security from potentially infecting other computers. So if a network consists of some compromised system, so that particular along with that particular compromised system, the other systems are also get into compromised state, and hence we have been giving some suboptimal security, right? So this is the functionality of the NAC. So it will examine the current status of the system or the network device before allowing the network connection. So that is actually. So this is the architecture, how we can define a NAC framework. So here the first thing is security self-assessment by the system health agent. So this will do as a self-assessment, right? And it will send this statement of health of the particular device or the network to the health registry authority. So this is being connected with the antivirus server or patch management server, right? So if this assessment it is being checked with the health registration authority, if it is okay, it will give a certificate, health certificate. The health certificate is issued to the client, right? The health certificate presented to the network server. So after presenting this health certificate provided by the health registration authority, if it is okay, the client is okay, then it can proceed for the network connection. Or else, if no health certificate, client sent to the quarantine network. So this is a quarantine network. So if it has been, if the health of that particular device is okay, then it has been allowed to connect to the particular network. So this is called actually NAC. Very simple method. So there will be a self-assessment by the system health agent. So it will monitor a particular system in a network, right? So if this is system health is okay while dealing with the antivirus server and the patch management server, it will check with the antivirus and the patch management server, and if the health is okay, then it will make a connection with the particular network, or else it will quarantine the network. Okay, then. So this is the same thing what I have explained before. So the client performs a self-assessment. The assessment known as it is called actually statement of health is sent to a server called the health registration authority, and it also integrates this health registration authority also integrates with the other external authorities, say for example antivirus and patch management server, to retrieve the current configuration information. So if the client is approved by the HRA, so it is issued a health certificate. The health certificate is then presented to the network server to verify the client's security condition has been approved. If it is not approved, it will send to the quarantine network, right? Until it has been the deficiency has been corrected, and then it has been allowed back to the connect to the network. So this is all how we can do with the NAC and NAT. So security through technologies. So the next thing is security through network design elements. There is a demilitarized zone is there, subnetting is there, virtual LAN is there, remote access there. So it's very simple thing. DMZ, demilitarized zone, separate the network located outside the secure network perimeter. Untrusted outside users can access the DMZ alone. So we have been creating a network which is called a DMZ, demilitarized zone. So if any untrusted outside users, he can access only this DMZ, but not secure the network. So they are not allowing to enter into the secure network. They have created an artificial network, demilitarized zones. So any untrusted outsiders are allowed to access that particular DMZ zone alone. It will not allow them into a secure network. Most secure approach is having two firewalls. Most secure approach is having two firewalls. So this is a structure of DMZ with one firewall, right? So internet router is there. There is a one firewall. There may be a proxy server, right? Here it is a DMZ server. Server is there, right? DMZ network is there. Demilitarized zone network is there, right? So DMZ with one firewall, and here DMZ with two firewall, right? There is an internet router is there, proxy server is there, firewall is two firewall is there, right? Again there is a DMZ there. So two firewall will be more efficient, right? When we comparing with the one firewall. So it's a very simple demilitarized zone. Untrusted network, users being accessing are allowed to access a particular DMZ network, not to the secure network. So we can separate this thing with the firewalls and all. Okay, so this is a demilitarized zone network, right? So subnetting. So design, next is design element is a subnetting. We have studied this thing in the networks itself. So what is a subnetting? It is a classful. What is meant by classful addressing? It split the network into network and host portions on the boundaries between the bytes. So this is actually classful. What is meant by classless? With the help of subnetting or subnet address, IP address split anywhere within the 32 bits. Right? So that is actually subnetting. Instead of just having the networks and host networks, essentially can be divided into three parts. So network, subnet, and host. Okay. So this is called actually subnetting. Okay, so this is called actually subnetting. So subnetting here we can call it as a classless addressing. So where we can split the network, subnet, and host. Right. So this is called actually subnets. It's an example for the subnet, right? So everything is called a subnet. This is a different network. It seems like a same network, but everything has been divided, subnetted. So everything is a different network, subnetted. So how we can provide the security with the help of subnetting? Each network can contain several subnets, and each subnet connected through the different routers can contain multiple hosts. So this is a vital part of implementing the subnetting for a security. So if I am having several subnets, each subnets connected through the different routers can contain some multiple hosts. So subnets can also improve the network security. How it has been improving? Single network into a multiple. If I am converting this single network into a multiple smaller subnet, in order to isolate the group of hosts. So I can isolate here easily with the help of subnetting different hosts and all. So that will say, for example, 5 hosts will come under this subnet. 5 hosts will come under this subnet. So I can do an isolation here. So allows the network administrator to hide the internal network layout also. So these two things are the main advantages of providing the security with the help of subnetting. Virtual LAN. So this is the thing also we have studied in the network also. So only thing what we are going to study is how we can provide the security with the help of VLAN. You all know, right? Virtual LAN is nothing but separating the devices into logical groups. So physically connected network into a logically separating the network. So that is called actually virtual LAN. So VLANs scatter the users to be logically grouped together, even though they're physically attached to the different switches. So as I said earlier, nothing but physically connected devices into a logically separated network. Can reduce the network traffic and provide a degree of security similar to the subnetting. Here also with the help of VLAN, we can isolate source sensitive data which is transporting only to the member of the VLAN. So I can do isolation here so that I can make a particular sensitive data to be transported to a particular member of the VLAN itself. So here labeling protocol or tagging protocol we can use, right? So which member should receive the particular information I can label. So the help of switch or tagging protocol can be used for virtual LAN. So the last thing is the remote workers. So who are all remote workers? We can call the telecommunicators, traveling sales representatives, traveling workers, all are called remote workers. So they have been used for working away from the office and at a common place today. So stronger security for the remote workers must be maintained. So in this pandemic situation of COVID-19, every IT industry people are been working in the home. So here we are in the position as a cybersecurity professionals. We have to give the strong security for the remote workers. Transmissions are routed through the networks not managed by the organizations. Definitely, if I am working, I'm an IT industry people. If I am working in a particular organization, then the organization is responsible for giving the security to my system. If I am working in my home, then the transmissions are routed through the networks. So the network should be secured, right? So in case of securing the remote workers.